All right, let's dive right into this explainer and peel back the layers of the technologies we use every single day. We are constantly surrounded by these incredible marvels of modern engineering, right? From the smartphones sitting in our pockets to those massive wind turbines popping up on our horizons. But today, we're going to examine the physical foundations of this modern world. It's a journey that's going to take us from the deepest minds to the absolute heart of our global agricultural system. We really love to think we're moving towards this immaterial, cloud-based, completely green economy. But I have to ask you, is that the whole truth? When you tap a screen and summon a car or stream a movie from the cloud, it feels like magic. It feels completely weightless. But the data we're looking at today suggests this feeling of weightlessness might actually be the grandest illusion of our time. There is this incredibly stark contrast between the pristine language we use for our digital lives and the harsh physical reality required to actually build it. We throw around terms like smart grids and a clean transition, but the reality on the ground involves massive physical extraction and ongoing heavy dependence on fossil fuels and the creation of toxic sludge. The modern world is, well, it's incredibly heavy.
Section 1. The Weight of Modernity.
To really understand our reliance on physical materials, the researcher Vaclav Smil points us all the way back to this dire warning from 1898. William Crookes stood before the British Association for the Advancement of Science and warned of global starvation. Our agricultural yields were stagnating and populations were booming. This terrifying bottleneck was only solved by an astonishing breakthrough. They literally invented a chemical process to pull unreactive nitrogen straight out of the thin air. Just wild. And that nitrogen breakthrough, it led directly to the mass synthesis of ammonia, which, alongside plastics, steel, and cement, form what Smile identifies as the four absolute pillars of our modern existence. These aren't just nice-to-have materials, they are the non-negotiable foundations. Without them, everything from our food supply to our hospitals and our transportation networks would simply collapse. So here is the absolutely crucial point. Without the mass-scale, heavily fossil fuel-dependent production of ammonia fertilizers, 4 billion people alive today would simply not have food. I mean, let that sink in for a second. Half of humanity relies on a synthetic molecule created in massive industrial plants using natural gas. This makes the synthesis of ammonia perhaps the most momentous technical advance in human history. And to really illustrate the staggering acceleration of our material use, let's look at cement, the indispensable glue of our cities. Check this out. China consumed 4.4 billion tons of cement in just 2 years, specifically 2018 and 2019. That nearly matches the 4.56 billion tons that the United States used in the entire 20th century. The scale of extraction and processing happening right now is completely unprecedented. Now, because making all these materials requires intense heat and chemical reactions, powered largely by coal and natural gas, these four indispensable pillars alone account for a full 25% of all CO2 emissions originating from fossil fuels. This proves that our baseline civilization is anything but weightless. Before we even flip on a light switch or drive a car, the very structure of our world carries a massive carbon footprint. And this physical toll, it literally reaches every single corner of the globe, from the equator right down to the icy habitats of the penguins on your screen. So as we attempt to pivot away from fossil fuels, we really have to ask ourselves, are we just trading one type of severe environmental impact for another? Which brings us to Section 2, the rare metal boom. Investigative reporter Guillaume Petron points us toward the actual foundation of this supposedly clean paradigm, rare metals. Things like neodymium, gallium, and cobalt. These are the secret ingredients making our modern magic happen. Because of their exceptional magnetic and semiconducting properties, they allow us to shrink engines, regulate electricity, and make everything from your phone's tiny vibration motor to those massive offshore wind turbines function. And humanity's appetite for these elements has just completely exploded. For thousands of years, humans relied on just 7 metals. Even through the 20th century, we barely used more than a dozen. But as we transitioned to these highly magnetized digital societies, our demand skyrocketed. Today, to keep this so-called weightless economy running, we are mining almost all 86 metals on the periodic table, which, as you might guess, creates an exponential scramble. As the world pushes hard for electric vehicles and renewable energy, by 2035, the demand for green tech metals like cobalt is projected to multiply by 24 times. 24 times! We are essentially swapping out our reliance on abundant fossil fuels for a mad dash over incredibly scarce, difficult to extract minerals.
So why exactly is this such a problem? Well, to get these metals, imagine baking a loaf of bread. Extracting rare metals is kind of like trying to unbake a pinch of salt out of a finished loaf. Unlike iron, which is everywhere, rare metals are trapped in rock in minute proportions. Separating that pinch of salt requires aggressive crushing, intense heat, and some extremely toxic chemical processes.
Moving on to Section 3, the toxic clean reality. This highly complex extraction process brings us to a really harsh reality on the ground. When journalist Guillaume Pitron traveled to Guangzhou, China, to find where these cleantech ingredients are actually refined, he was met with profound hostility. Menacing guards and illegal miners literally chased him away from hidden rare earth quarries. Why the secrecy? Because they were basically turning over a rock to see what really powers our green revolution, and they were hiding an absolute environmental catastrophe. Because the chemistry behind this is just brutal. Purifying a single ton of rare earths requires 200 cubic meters of water. But that water doesn't just wash the rocks, it gets completely saturated with toxic sulfuric and hydrochloric acids used to separate the elements. And in a lot of these hidden quarries, that highly toxic cocktail is just pumped directly back into the ground and the local rivers. Because ecological standards are so frequently ignored to keep prices down, this toxic sludge ends up creating literal moonscapes. Take the Wikuing Dam near Baotou, China, for example. It is a sprawling 10-square-kilometer artificial lake of toxic, black effluent regurgitated from nearby refineries. It's kind of like the beating, dark heart of the energy transition. And the human toll here is just devastating. Entire communities have been transformed into what they call cancer villages. In Dalahai, which sits right near that toxic lake, thorium levels in the soil are 36 times higher than normal. The locals are breathing toxic air, farming infertile soil. They are paying the ultimate physical price just so the rest of the world can enjoy supposedly clean technologies. Which leads us to Section 4, our true ecological footprint. And remember, this isn't just some isolated issue in one province. It's a massive global phenomenon. From cobalt mining in the Congo, creating highly toxic conditions for the locals, to chrome processing destroying drinking water in Kazakhstan, to lithium extraction depleting whole salt flats down in Latin America. The data here reveals a really stark reality. Currently, the mining required to build our green future heavily relies on digging up the earth, using toxic chemicals, and draining water tables. So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this provocative question. Before a solar panel is even turned on, before an electric car drives a single mile, does it bear this heavy original sin of extraction and pollution? Until we acknowledge the dirty physical reality behind our clean digital illusions, can we ever truly reduce our ecological footprint? It's a pretty heavy question for our modern world. Thank you so much for joining me to explore the data, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.